Okay, step 10 is where we are actually putting the straps onto the bag. It tells you to cut 2 pieces of webbing, and then it gives a bunch of weird measurements. I honestly can't explain this. When they tell you how much webbing to buy, and I take that and divide by 2, it's a little less than that. And I don't know why the random, like, why is it 57 and a 1/4 inch? Like, what is that 1/4 inch? It's a bag. Here's what we're gonna go with. Take the webbing that you've bought, if you bought it in the correct length, take it, fold it in half, and just cut it in half. My straps wind up, instead of, mine are supposed to be 57 and 1/4, and they wind up around 60 inches each, and I'm okay with this.
Where's the extra 3 inches on each side going?
Well, and you don't use it anywhere else in the pattern, so I don't get it. Then it actually wants you to pin webbing straps along the center panel seams, stitch close to the edge of webbing, beginning and ending at the lower edge, squaring stitches at broken line as showed. So broken line was from the center front piece. There was this dotted line. I've put them in tape so you can see them better. But what I want you to notice here is whatever way you orient this, you want to make sure that as you're laying it out, you don't get twisted up here. So you want to keep it laying flat as you come back down. You want to make sure that you get it really nice and snug against this pocket, because you don't want to see like a gap when you sew it there. Another trick that I have is, especially if you're a beginning sewer, if you have different colored threads, I'd actually match it to wherever you're stitching. So I'm hitting this white edge is going to be probably a little too difficult, so I'm going to switch to navy up here, and then I'm going to sew down this side with red on the top. Or you can do it in accent, and yeah. But we're going to pin this into place, and we're sewing this. We're also going to start the other one, but we're not going to finish it up because that goes in the next step.
So that looks like really thick material to sew.
It is.
Are you changing your needle?
I am not, because I already
have the denim needle in,
yes.
so that's going to be good enough for that.
Yes. If you don't have a denim needle, that's fine. Just don't try to, this is not something to speed through. Take your time.
So if you have a regular-ish needle, you can still do thicker material. You just have to go slow.
Yeah. I mean, not all the time. You can't take a regular needle and sew leather by any means. But,
sure.
Actually, I might try and hit that white line. I've made an executive decision, so I am actually going to try and do that. I'm going to do a tiny zigzag, and I'm going to zigzag on this outer white line. Yeah.
Some people like to live dangerously.
I'm doing that
like
because I have this rainbow kind of webbing, and I don't want a different color showing up on one of the stripes. However, if you've seen canvas bags, I have mine right here. A lot of times the contrast stitching can be decorative. So by all means, go ahead and do a contrast stitching. I just think that another white line on this rainbow webbing would look weird, so I'm going to try to hit that out of the corner. You know what? This might have been a time, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, if I hadn't pinned perpendicular, if you'd actually pinned right in the center of this where you're not going to sew, you don't even have to remove the pins at all. So that's what I would recommend.
There you go.
It shouldn't be this hard for you guys to pin. I am realizing now why this pattern was recommended for light to medium weight fabrics. I still like the heavy duty canvas tote that I'm making. It makes me happy.
Speaking of realizing, I just realized that those pockets go on the outside.
Oh, you thought these went on the inside? No, we have
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because they're sewn to the right side of the fabric. So.
Ouch. Okay, well, my mom always said that it's not a real project until you've drawn blood. So, congratulations, you have real project status.
Now we're sewing.
Now we're sewing. Runs with scissors. This is again just one of those places where you're going to have to roll so that you can fit it through the throat of your machine.
Did you stab yourself again?
Yeah.
Ouch.
You could also do a cheater trick that I've done sometimes. Sometimes when some things are very difficult to sew, I tape them with masking tape, and then I pull the masking tape away. And it kind of perforates along this line of stitching. It gums up your needle a little bit, but... So now I've reached this line along the top. I'm actually going to stop with my needle down. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to temporarily change to a straight stitch to come across. Which I will probably... You don't want to change stitch styles unless you raise up your needle. But I still want my needle down to pivot, so... I'm gonna pivot with my needle down. Now is when we roll up the other side of the bag. Come out. So here's a fashion term for you. You see how this one line is not quite white because the red has bled into it. When it's a dry rub transfer, which I assume nobody's washed this trim, that's called crocking. And it's a load of crock. So that is one strap done. Oh, and I was close to being out of my bobbin. This is something you want to make sure is really secure. So if you want to sew over it again, you can, because I mean, this is the bags that are holding your, these are the handles of your bag. But basically I'm going to do that same thing here and then one more on there. And I think you guys get it. We can stop this step for now.
Since you did the zigzag, does that make it slightly more secure?
I don't think so, actually. Okay. If I had done, I don't know if you can zoom in on this. It's really hard to see my zigzag. If I'd done a closer together zigzag, I think that, yeah.
Okay.
You could sew it twice. I might do that. I don't know.
These aren't for carrying bowling balls.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you're gonna carry bowling balls, you might
get a bowling ball bag.
Want some sturdier stuff. But yes, so I'll join you back when I have the rest of my, so I'm sewing this one and then just one side of the next strap. The other side is still hanging loose. So, okay.
Hang loose.